Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Copilot Learning Hub Live. We're in the middle of a two-parter episode on building your AI and Copilot strategy. And we're bringing back our friend Kevin, who is the expert on this topic. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Donna. Thanks very much for having me back again.
Of course. Okay, please tell everyone what you do.
So, hello, I'm Kevin McDonnell. I'm the Copilot Strategy and Modern Workplace AI lead at Avanade. We're a very large global Microsoft partner within there. So I spend my day-to-day life talking about this Copilot strategy, talking about all the different Copilot endpoints, what they mean, what you should be doing and planning for it. And because I love it so much, I don't just talk about it for a day job. I also talk about it with my colleague, fellow MVP, regional director Zoe Wilson. We have a podcast where we go out. It's called the Copilot Connection. You may recognize some of it mentioned in some of these slides here. We go out roughly every 2 weeks, depending how busy we're getting with things on there, and bring in all the experts from Microsoft, such as Donna, but also from across the community, bring in those real stories, the latest updates and what's happening. So we try and bring across everything around this very broad Copilot story that's happening.
I love that. I love that you don't just do this for a day job. You're like, I need a side hustle that's also Copilot related. That I just laugh at this. This is great. So, Kevin, one of the things that I find very interesting about you is that you're a strategy lead right now, but in the past you've been a developer, like hands-on dev work. As you know, this is a thing that you and I bond over often, where so much of hands-on dev work happens later once you figure out your strategy to figure out what you're hands-on deving in the first place. Because you and I will immediately be like,
Absolutely.
IDE, let's do stuff. But people are like, what are you doing? Stop.
Yeah.
But a big part of copiloting is dev work, specifically the extensibility program. Like, how do you extend a Copilot on your own data, which is honestly a full-on software engineering activity. So I'd love to dig into this because I know you've got a lot of thoughts and a lot of ideas around how people can actually extend Copilots in a meaningful and useful way to achieve some of the things they're trying to achieve.
Well, what I love about extensibility is, yeah, it's a software engineering, but we have this beautiful world that you know very well of Power Platform, those power users who've got fantastic ideas. They live in many cases exactly in the areas of business. It's what's brought me to SharePoint, Microsoft 365, is that we don't have people that have to go out there and speak to developers, come up with these requirements and make things happen. We have this beautiful world of makers that can make things happen. And that same story also happens for extensibility. Yep, and we'll talk about this in a minute. There needs to be governance. You need to make sure it's done the right way, but you can enable many people to do this. Plus, those who've built things, who certainly worked within that developer space, who've created things like in the Teams toolkit, who've extended their own custom copilots, they can have this same story that brings there as well. So we bring this low code and pro code story back to Copilot as well. And that brings it to these Copilot extensions. Now, I'm going to be honest, I have entirely nicked this slide from a lovely gentleman at Microsoft called Jeremy Fake, who gave this session at Build this year. But I love this one because it tells the story of what the different areas you can do. And we've had for a while now these two different ways of connectors and plugins that have been about connectors is about bringing data in an indexed way. So it's that large volumes of data, often unstructured within there. We'll talk about it a little bit more in the next slide. And this is a bit like your search index. So it brings that way in there and you can ask questions of that. But you've also got plugins within there. Now, these plugins are kind of that live story that you can connect to a specific system. And you can take action to things as well. You can make things happen within there. And these have kind of been bubbling around a little bit within that Copilot extensibility story, whether it's in Copilot Studio, whether it's things like Teams message extensions on there to take those activities and do that. I built a lovely Copilot extension that could go in and talk to booking leave and things like that. So I want to book leave between these dates. I didn't have to fill out a little form. I could just do it in natural language and it would kind of understand enough to say, right, I need this start date. I need this end date. Let's work out where it gets through. What I love from the session at Build is we've got this new world coming, not quite there yet. I know there's some private previews going out there of declarative copilots. And these bring together that power of the connectors, that power of the plugins into a more consistent story. And to me, I love this because this brings that personality. This brings, I've got a Copilot for a specific reason. It could be an HR Copilot that will allow you to look at policies. It will allow you to view your leave balance, book leave, raise concerns with people, even connect to an agent from that point. But you can give it a certain personality. With HR, you want to be friendly. You want to be engaging with people. But then you could have a legal Copilot that's a lot more stern and a lot more focused, or a security Copilot that you must do this, you must do that, and you can bring that personality. I've loved this world of kind of custom dev and using prompts where you can get quite creative with how you build this personality. Before, it was quite tricky to do that within a bot. Now it's kind of a few lines of a prompt that you can pull together within this. And all of these there with that same Copilot user experience. So people see that common experience. And we're starting to see now Microsoft bringing that custom engine. So where you have built those custom Copilots, soon you'll be able to integrate those into the same UX that flows through there as well.
I love this because this answers the question, right? Where people are like, how do you extend a Copilot? And the answer is, it depends. What you're trying to do, what is your data source? And it might be more than one. Right? It might be more than one, depending on what you're trying to do. So I love how you've laid this framework out and that you found this visualization to resonate with you. And Jeremy's going to love hearing this. Thank you, Jeremy. That you found it to resonate enough with you that it's something that you use to go talk to your customers about, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think within this, this doesn't talk about Copilot Studio. This doesn't talk about Azure AI Studio. It doesn't talk about low code or pro code. Because actually the story's the same in this. Whether you're going with low code, you've got a connector, you've got a plugin, you can build those in those different experiences on there. Where do you start to look at that decision point on there? I think it's about what you have that familiarity. If you've got a fantastic group of C# devs, TypeScript, JavaScript devs who've been building Teams bots and extensions for a long time, great, go ahead and make use of those. If you've got a fantastic partner you're working with that can do that, fantastic, carry on using that. If you haven't, you've got that power of Copilot Studio that can do a large part of that as well, that can fill that story. I should have brought this slide. I've just thought about this one that I should have aligned with this one. A lot of people say to me, everyone keeps telling me I need to use Copilot Studio for everything, but I kind of don't feel that this is the right thing from there. So how do I decide what to use when? And the honest answer is, it depends, but it is also, it's not a clear, when you do this, you do that. When you do this, you do that. So I have, because I do speak with techies and they love a good pizza analogy. Think about it like pizza. To me, Copilot Studio is a takeaway pizza. You can call up, you can choose from a few set options. You can probably customize it a bit, maybe add a bit more pepperoni. If I'm going to be controversial, if you're a bit strange, you could put some pineapple on there and decide what you want on it. Yeah, I'm going there. But you can customize that. That's to your own taste, each to their own within that. And you can get it pretty quickly. You pay a bit more money to get that fast, that ease and experience. But you'll get what you get within that, and that's it. If you wanted something quick and easy, you could go to the supermarket or your local shop, buy a ready-made pizza there, bung that in the oven. Probably a bit cheaper. Again, you can't really customize that quite so much. It's probably slightly cheaper ingredients in many cases on there. It's not quite so nice. But you could also buy the most amazing pizza oven. You could get one of those lovely infrared thermometers. You could bring the best flour, the best ingredients, and get exactly what you want. Yes, Zoe Wilson, I'm looking at you for this one. You can get the most high-end piece you want in there. And to me, you've got that takeaway pizza is Copilot Studio. You've got Azure AI Studio. You've got all those Azure capabilities where you can choose where you want those different things and build in those different bits you want. You've got that exact control on there. Could I say exactly when you switch between the two? No, it's a very nuanced thing, and I think we'll see the experience as people get more and more experience with the different ways on that to really work it out. But at a high level, it's thinking about those different elements from there as well.
I like that a lot. I love the takeaway pizza example. One of the things that I've heard is Copilot Studio is very good if you're going to build a conversational experience of some sort, right? Like you've got a set of assets that you want to drop a conversational thing into. And that can be like, a chatbot or a Q&A or helper agent or assistant or something like this that you've got on the side of Teams or your website or whatever it is. And Azure AI Studio is great when you're going to build an app from scratch, right? You're not building a conversational experience. You're maybe building like, I don't know, a retail shopping experience. And you actually want generative AI to generate you image descriptions or copy or something like that. Like you're going to build like a new Shopify app. And that you wouldn't use Copilot Studio for because it's not really conversational. It's more, it's generative AI. It's generating you a bunch of things for the new version of Shopify or the new version of Maps or something like this. So that's where I've heard of it. The other thing is exactly what you said, where you've got to use the tools with the team you've got. Right? The best tool is the one that works. It's like sunblock, the one you use, the one you know how to use. And if you do not have pro-code developers on your team going out and buying a lot of Azure AI things, right? Whether it's, Azure AI, Logic Apps, this and that, you're going to be in a world of learning before you even get to solving the problem. Because if you've got a bunch of high code devs who know how to use Azure, who know how to use, cognitive services, have experience with like computer vision, cool, go build your own thing. But if you don't have that talent, going and finding the talent now is going to be very hard. As you and I know from just the low code space, that was why low code is a thing, because we don't have enough pro code engineers in the world to go out and build you your custom apps. But again, it all depends on what you're trying to do. But that's why I'm so glad partners like you exist, because you can guide people there. And if they truly do need a high code experience, you all have that capacity to go out and find the right people to build that thing for them.
Exactly, to help and supplant that. So don't feel that if you haven't got those people, you can't do it. Right. There's people out there who will work very much in partnership with you to deliver that as well.
Awesome.
I've deviated slightly as I tend to do. I wanted to, I'm going to flick this slide up and not animate it because we kind of covered some of these things as well. But I do get a lot of questions around when plugins and when connectors, because you could have your data as a connector within there. How do I choose when it's a plugin within that? And let's say you have your knowledge store and you can't decide, should I call that through an API or should I build a connector within there? I think this nicely summarizes it. And again, I've taken a lot from Jeremy's session, BRK 150 of builds, which is great to look at this. But if you have that very unstructured data, great, put that into your graph connectors, into your data connectors, into Fabric, so you can have that large scale data that can come through from there that can be summarized. If you've got unpredictable prompts and you really want that semantic view, bring it into that matching on there as well. And if you're things that aren't updating frequently, that works perfectly, because there's a certain amount of indexing. It will take a little bit of time. If you want that real-time data, if you've got your ERP system coming through, your ticketing system, you don't want to wait 15 minutes to find out what's happening with your updated ticket on there. You want to get it straight away. And that's where the plugins start to work. And also those right actions. If you're taking action on something, that's where those plugins really help from that as well.
I love this. This is a great layout and a very good way to explain, because this feels more straightforward. It's like, if your data is structured or unstructured. If it's very relational or not relational. If you need it real time, or is it like, Twitter plugin or whatever, compared to the kind of graph things we're used to, like Exchange, SharePoint, et cetera, et cetera. So this is good. This is awesome.
And then what I love about this declarative Copilot is you bring these things together nicely. And I've got kind of an example which I always like to tell people with this. If you think of I don't necessarily want to call it the old world, because in many cases it's the current world for people, but I want to get a replacement headset. Mine's broken, my cat sat on it and snapped something within there, so I need to go and get a replacement from there. So in the current one, you probably go into SharePoint, have a look through your intranet, find out where it is, searching through, trying to find the right one, find out who to speak to, eventually get through to them, send them a message within Teams, and they say, oh, hang on, let me go back and check that ERP system. Oh, there's none there. Here, let me pass you on to this to go in order. Then you go on to this other system, which could be ServiceNow or Dynamics or something. You've got to go and find the right area within that. You've suddenly forgotten what the name of the headset you need because that's no longer in stock. So you kind of get this back and forth. You have to ask a lot of people where these systems are. It's not joined up and connected. In this beautiful Copilot world, and this is a genuine response from our Copilot for M365, I can ask ServiceNow, how do I get a replacement headset? And that's where we have that knowledge. I can then in the next one say, are there any replacement Jabra headsets in stock? And it can check that ERP dynamically and say that there are none currently in stock. For any system, please make a request. And my next conversation can be, please, can you order a replacement? And it will log that ticket into the system. There will be a human there to kind of deal with that and send it through. It's all linked together, all in 3 conversations right there, all in that flow within Copilot. So you've got that single experience that comes through that you can deliver to people, and you can link these things together. I haven't said, please, can you, when I said, please, can you order a replacement? I didn't say for what, because I've already asked that question previously. It's got that history that brings things to do. I'm not having to repeat things, and it knows who I am. So it knows where that's got to be delivered to. It knows how to notify me on that. It's all in that seamless response, all in one go, which is great.
I love it. This is great. This is great.
So in terms, I think the next steps of this, think about how you create these things. And we kind of touched on this a little bit. I'm loving this world where we're kind of seeing that end user creation. We've heard announced the SharePoint Copilots, when an end user can go and say, I've got my knowledge, I've got my site here, I want to be able to search that, and I want to allow other people to do. We're going to see that explosion of end users doing that with the right governance. Don't get me wrong, we're still going to bring those things in there. We've then got the more technically minded who can use things like Copilot Studio, who are those power users who can gain that through. And they've got that notion of testing. They know around governance and building environments. They've got that next level within there. And then you've got your specialists. We talked about the AI Studio, things like Semantic Kernel, Teams AI. They could be Python developers, C#, TypeScript. They could be those pure machine learning data scientists that come through from there. There's a route for all these different people to be able to create solutions and offer those to end users as the different ways as well.
I love it. It's very true, though. I truly believe everyone has a role to play in the AI verse, right? You know, we talk about this quite often. And it's not always just consuming it. It is creating the thing you need to do your job. And there's tools for everyone, all depending on what you're trying to do and what you're comfortable with. And that doesn't mean what you're comfortable with today is all you're ever going to do, because these tools are going to get easier to use. We're in year 2 of the era of AI and generative AI and copilots, right? Just in year 2. And the tools are already okay. They're only going to get better and easier to use and more available and usable for people.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the challenge of that, and again, I remember that South Coast Summit session you did, and you were talking to a lot of Power Platform people and said, you are perfectly positioned because you've been through this story. You've been through that end user, power user specialist. So it kind of brings forward to a lot of the learnings that we've had from that we can bring forward. And I think your strategy should consider many of the same things that have happened there, of that low code to pro code within there. So thinking about your strategy, you should consider the different people. There are these personas and groups within there and what they bring to it. So your kind of stakeholders, whoever that is, whichever area you're looking at, who will own that, who will be there to help you define what value you're bringing on there. And one of my favorite phrases that really seems to have kind of built up over the last 6 months is that digital core. So whether that's your kind of SharePoint environments, your teams, your knowledge that's there within that, or whether it's your data, that could be Dataverse, could be your data lakes, your databases within there, making sure that you understand that it's got the suitable permissions, that people know where to get the information from, you've got golden sources, you're managing that. I'll be honest, many of us techies have been talking about sorting these things out for a long, long time. With this world of AI, that becomes so much more important because it's so much easier to surface the wrong thing. Now we've got to make sure it's easier to surface the right thing by building that core and making it central there. And that fits also with that life cycle of making sure you're managing that content through. And again, it comes back to that measuring success. They're your stakeholders that will help you to find that.
And you know what's interesting about this is like, okay, for a long time, businesses should have been doing this all along. I know this, we all know this. Microsoft should have been, Avanade should have been. But AI makes it so you have to before you can AI. Right? You have to. There's no way you can deploy AI across your org with chaos. The shadow AI problem, right? We talk about all the time, because now you have to get your house in order before you can deploy this. And this is a very beautiful framework because you know it works. You have tried and tested this on lots and lots and lots of customers, in-house at Avanade, probably in-house at Microsoft. And there is a formula for how it can be done. It's not this big mystery of how do we deploy AI? Oh no. There's a way to do it. Everyone should follow the basic template and then modify as needed. You know, some places are more compliancy, some are more creative. But like, take this basic template that Kevin is showing, go implement, right? It's a beautiful starting point.
Absolutely. And you start to bring these end users into it. And you could argue these top two of things about stakeholders and end users. We talked in the last show about that kind of enable capability. All these, think about that experiences, how you enable people to use these tools, that community. They fit with whether you're just using an existing Copilot from Microsoft, but it's the same when you extend it. How do you let people know, I showed that ServiceNow example. How do you let people know that they can search that information? How do you think about making that part of what the capabilities are as well? So that same adoption and change comes through in that, how you build those communities. But with extensibility, you've also got to enable those teams who are creating things, whether they're makers and power users, whether it's those specialists that come through. Give them the ability to understand those capabilities, the tools, the environment, the accelerators to make that happen. And then the governance, responsible use that we spoke at the beginning of that first episode, all play into those administrators. And they could be technical administrators, they can be process administrators, to make sure that continues happening as well.
Absolutely right. I love it.
And how does this all fit together? I'm going to shout out to someone in a minute who's done some fantastic work on this in terms of thinking about your center of excellence and center for enablement, your center of an excellence that really talks about what it is that's good, how you bring those things together, your enablement of how you get to that point. And the fabulous Simon Owen has got a great blog post around this. I assume we can put some links in notes because I'll have to dig that out and send that through to you. If we look at that center of excellence, it's that governance, that security and platform operations, a lot of those administrative things, but also that reporting telemetry on there that can understand the success. For enablement, it's that adoption and change, exciting people, building that community, making them want to do it and understand the value of doing it, how to do it as well, and celebrating that success. And he's got a lovely way he's talked through that. I'm very much looking forward to talking about this a bit more with the Copilot at the Scottish Summit in a few months. So we're doing a joint session to dig into this deeper.
This is great. Simon,
keep an eye out for that.
Shout out to the Simon Owen in the back. I love this. This is a great, I hadn't seen this. This is awesome.
Really nice. And I kind of love that he keeps it as a nice sketch view as well. None of this Ponzi, PowerPoints. It's real, this stuff. I love it. That's where it comes through as well.
Fabulous.
So I'm going to skip on a little bit because I think we talked about that and we'll dig into that a little bit more. I think, again, talking a little bit about that ensuring value, we spoke about a lot within that first one. So looking at that return on investment, how people are using it, making sure the right people are using it as well, because that's where you get the value. You can get a lot more value around getting your leaders within there making use of this than you can from many people on the ground on there. So making sure you understand those different levels on there, thinking about the sentiment that people have with it. I love Microsoft's Work Lab site, Microsoft.com/worklab, where they kind of ask that question to people: what would you give up to keep your Copilot for Microsoft 365? And I think it was like a lunch a week, a free lunch a week. So what is it that people would live without to lose these things? That really puts them on the spot to think about that as well, and thinking about that enablement to get the true value from things as well.
I love it. It's very true, though, because people find different ROI in things, but it really is a fabulous question. What would you be willing to give up to keep a Copilot? For me, GitHub Copilot is one that I will refuse to code without now. People are like, what if your workplace took it away? I'm like, I will pay for it myself. I have zero issue with that. Thank you for your info. Same with Word Copilot, though, now. I've become like that. And Teams Copilot. Now I'm a bit of a Teams Copilot diva. Without it, I'm like, where's the recap? People are like, we don't have that in this other product. I'm like, no.
It's one of the nice things about working with, well, there's many nice things about working with clients, but often I'm working in their environments and I won't have those same Copilot licenses. And you kind of go and do something like, okay, I'm going to have to think myself here. Okay, let me double those estimates and things on that. So it is exactly those elements that you can put a finger on within that. And I think this comes to kind of wrapping up. What is it about Copilot within this world? Why are we talking about this extensibilities in different areas? It's because it's those experiences that come through. And I love the fact that Copilot acts as that experience layer. It's that one place to go to. You get that commonality. You know you're going to be able to getting prompts. You know you're going to have a way that sort of suggests prompts to you. You know that you're going to be able to integrate this deeply into the systems you're using. You know that you can bring in your own applications and services and soon your custom Copilots, all to bring forward your digital core to the right people. And you can align this to those different roles that you have that you can fit within there. There are different ways of enabling that and extending and building custom that all comes together with this same view on there. So thinking about your strategy with Copilot at the center just helps people understand that and brings that same capability across all these different worlds as well.
I love this visualization because it does lay out all of the different vertical things that people think about, and then where does Copilot fit in within each one? And Copilot extended to various data sources for each of those roles or functions or whatever we want to call it. Yeah, that's great.
And I would ask Microsoft not to put too many more into that because I haven't got space in this slide. So I know I haven't got manufacturing in there. There's loads. So that may not be a reason for Microsoft to do things, but please, not
everyone
too many
respect Kevin's slide, people.
Although I can get Copilot to update it.
That's true.
Is a good point.
Awesome. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. This has been fascinating. Just thinking through how you talk to customers about this. And I can completely see you start them like, where are you today? And that level of conversation is different depending on where you're at and what they're trying to do. But I like that you've got this playbook for any customer really to start their journey, no matter where they might be on their tech stack or on their data readiness or their AI readiness, et cetera. And I am so happy that you and our friends at Avanade are doing this work because we, Microsoft, cannot reach billions of people on our own. It only works through people who work at Microsoft partners such as yourself. And we are very, very excited to keep seeing what you all implement because the stories you bring us are fabulous. Love it.
So I think you gave me a challenge to set some homework for people. So I'm going to give people 3 bits of homework. 1, think about what you want to get out of AI. So, and you could split that down into what you particularly, what you as an organization, what you as a team want to get out of it. Think about that. Think about what tools that you have available to do that, either there already or that you want to bring there. And then think about how you can bring those things together. Because if you've got Copilot, you can bring that together nicely. You can scale to those right things. So write those down and think about it. And then, have those crazy ideas, have those crazy differences. What I love about chatting to people is, oh, we were trying to do this. I can give an example today that someone wanted to take a document, they wanted to take all their contracts and say, what are the prerequisites? We want to be able to process those and understand the prerequisites. Can generative AI help us do that? And I was like, yeah, of course it can. How on earth can it do that? I need to think about this now. So have those inspirational ideas, because it will challenge people like Donna and I to go out and say, yeah, this is great. I hadn't thought about that before. How can we help people do that? And so go out, challenge us.
You know your scenarios better than we do. I should not be telling you what scenarios are for legal or HR or finance. I should not be doing that at all. We should be helping you, how do you do that? Here's a challenge you have, a problem you want to solve. Here's tooling you have in-house. Can you put them together, yes or no? Or do you need some other new thing? So rely on the Kevins and the Donnas to help that second part, but please do the first part of identifying, here's some core scenarios that are extremely annoying and have been annoying for a very long time. And these seem like good candidates to AI. Good homework, Kevin. I like that one.
Absolutely.
I like it so much. All right, everyone. I know we've given you a lot of information, as Kevin and I tend to do, but please do go check out his podcast called Copilot Connection for much more in-depth information like this and so much more on all things Copilot. And we will see you next time on Copilot Learning Hub Live. Thank you.